Hi, this is Tim Rohr from the Utah Conservatory, and this is one of our Week 3 videos in our Music Theory for Composition course, and today we're going to be talking about the Week 3 assignment. The composition assignment for this week is to take the melody we created in Week 2 and to create rhythmic variety. To create this variety and still have it sound pleasing to the ear, there's some rules for this assignment as there were for last week. So the first rule is that your melody needs to be at least 3 measures long when you've finished adding the rhythmic variety. The last measure should only contain 1 note, and you should try to change the rhythms so that they're not the same rhythm for every single measure. Also, try to find ways to use similar or the same exact rhythms in different spots to create patterns within, like we've talked about in previous videos. And you may also repeat notes in your pattern even if it didn't do that in your melody. In addition to repeating notes that didn't do so in your original melody, you can also add new notes as long as they do one of the following. You can add a new note that steps up and then back down, or steps down and then back up. You can add a new note that steps up and then up to the next note in your melody, or that steps down and then down again. Or you can jump to a different note and then step down, or jump down and then back up. We'll talk about how all of these works when I show you the example in just a second. How you create the rhythmic variety within each measure is completely up to you, but I've created a chart that can help quickly see about how many notes per measure would be if you use certain rhythmic patterns. And I'll show you, based on this chart, what I did with my own melody. But it is completely up to you as to how you would like to create that rhythmic variety within each measure. Here is my melody for my Week 2 assignment, and here is what I did to change it up. Let's see now how I created rhythmic variety within this melody. So the first thing that I decided to do was to create a pattern, and so I wanted to use a 3-note rhythm as my pattern. I ended up using this for my first measure, my second, my fourth, and my 6th right here. In addition, I ended up using a 4-note pattern, a 2-note pattern, and then the last measure was supposed to have 1 note, so it's got that 1 note right there. In addition to changing the rhythm, I also ended up repeating some notes and adding some other notes through here. The first set of notes that I repeated, these 2 A's right here. So here's the first of those A's, and I actually ended up adding an extra A in as well. Here are the last few notes of the song, a G, F, and an E. Here's a G, F, and an E, and I've got a couple extra E's in here as well. I also, as mentioned earlier, inserted some extra notes. So the first of these is right in between these 2 A's. I added an extra note right there at B. And as mentioned in the directions, you can step up to the note by 1 letter name. So we went to an A, from an A to a B. Then you step back down to that same note from B to an A. Later on in the song, I took this set of E's right here and I added an extra note, an E to an F, and then F back down to an E. I also used some instances in which I went to a note that went in between, that stepped up. So right here we have the F and the A. Here's the F and it goes to a G and then up to the A right there. And then I also had an F to an A to an F. So we had an A down to a G down to an F again. Lastly, I added some notes that jumped and then moved back up. In this instance, there's just one of these through this song, and it happens to be in between these notes right here. So we've got the F right here, and it moves down to a D, so it skips by more than 1 letter name, and then it moved back up to that E right there. So here is that original melody again. Here's the final result after we change things around. Even though our original melody that we used today was pretty simplistic, we were able to do so much with it by changing the rhythms, by inserting new notes. And so I would encourage you to take your original melody from week 2, to play around with it, to experiment, and just generally to have fun with this. That's all the time we've got for today, and we will see you in our week 4 set of videos.